Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today, we bring you a story full of surprises and hidden angles that few people know about. Don't leave just yet. Just when you think you've figured it all out, there are fascinating and meaningful details waiting for you at the end of the video. Let's explore together and uncover the special message this video has for you. Are you ready? Let's get started. Beneath the gleaming archways of Baghdad, envoys arrive at the court of the Abbasid Caliph, Al-Mustasim, the revered spiritual leader of millions of Sunni Muslims across the world. These emissaries bear a message from the world conqueror, Hulagu Khan. You may have heard of the devastation wrought by the Mongol armies from the time of Genghis Khan to the present. Do not attempt the impossible. Dismantle your fortifications, fill your moats, and surrender to us. Should you ignore our counsel, I will leave no soul alive in your domain. Hulagu, commanding a Mongol force of incalculable magnitude, advances westward under the orders of the great Khan monk, determined to subdue all before him. Al-Mustasim, who once failed to demonstrate loyalty during the Mongols' campaign against the Order of Assassins, now compounds his folly by insulting Hulagu. Young man, you fancy yourself immortal, presuming your authority is boundless. For over 5 centuries, the Abbasid dynasty, descendants of the Prophet Muhammad's uncle, has ruled Baghdad. Its towering walls are unyielding, and its skyline is adorned with majestic mosques and minarets that summon the faithful to glorify Allah. Its streets wind through fragrant gardens. Within the colleges and libraries, scholars delve into the mysteries of the heavens and freely discuss mathematics, metaphysics, and the preserved wisdom of Plato and Aristotle, translated into Arabic. Under the Abbasids' patronage, the Islamic world has achieved remarkable progress in science and medicine, crafting automata and water-powered clocks. Yet, this grandeur contrasts sharply with the plight of women, who are largely barred from public and economic life. Baghdad is home to Sunni Muslims alongside Shia Muslims, Christians, and Jews, their fates now bound to the leadership of a caliph deemed ineffectual, a man more enamored with hedonistic pleasures and counting treasures than governing or waging war. Reflecting on his forebears' victories, he retorts to Hulagu, "Every ruler who has dared to attack the Abbasids in Baghdad has met a tragic end. This palace's foundation is eternal and shall endure until judgment day." Hulagu responds with chilling certainty, "I shall cast you miserably into the jaws of the lion." Tens of thousands of Mongol riders, unrelenting and merciless, surge across the eastern mountains and surrounding lands. General Kitbuka, a Christian ally of the Mongols, ensures that towns faltering in their surrender are reduced to ash and ruin. As the campaign progresses, the Caliph offers Hulagu a substantial bribe, hoping to dissuade him. Hulagu dismisses the proposal with scorn, declaring, "After coming this far, how could we possibly leave without seeing the Caliph?" The Caliph, swayed by the fragmented opinions of his divided court, resorts to bluster. His men issue hollow threats, warning Hulagu that immediate retreat might earn the Caliph's clemency. Hulagu laughs at their hubris. "What have I to fear from the Caliph and his forces?" And so, led by their general, the Dawatar, the valiant men of Baghdad ride forth to confront the looming threat. The Caliph's soldiers, resolute in their duty, vow to halt the Mongols before they can approach the city's mighty walls. Encountering a division of the Mongol army several miles away, the Abbasid troops attack. The Mongols appear to retreat, and the Abbasid warriors exult in their perceived triumph, slaying some of the enemy and collecting their heads as trophies. Yet, the withdrawal is a cunning feint designed to lure the Abbasid forces out of position. As the soldiers pursue, the Mongols breach nearby dikes, flooding the plains and cutting off their escape. In a flash, the renowned Mongol horse archers turn upon their pursuers, raining deadly arrows upon them and driving the survivors into the rising waters. Few escape the carnage. The battlefield becomes a grim harvest, with the Mongols collecting 12,000 ears as tribute for Hulagu Khan. The Dawatar hastily retreats to Baghdad, carrying grim news of the disaster. In ages past, the caliphs of Baghdad could summon the armies of Sunni Islam from across their vast domain to defend the city. But those days of unchallenged authority are gone. The Abbasid throne, bereft of its former influence, finds itself isolated. The city's defenses are woefully inadequate, and no allies answer the call for aid. Over 100,000 Mongol warriors now march upon Baghdad, encircling it on all sides. Their shouts and the thunderous din of their approach grow, an ominous tide surging toward the great house of Abbas. The city is surrounded. Hulagu Khan has no intention of sparing any. On January 29, 1258, the siege begins. Mongol catapults unleash great stones upon the walls, battering the city day and night. Gates crumble under relentless assaults. The once proud defenders falter as despair takes hold. Within the city, chaos reigns. The people wail in anguish, haunted by the inevitability of their doom. The panicked caliph belatedly attempts negotiations, but Hulagu rejects his overtures outright. A powerful siege engine destroys a fortified tower on the eastern side, and Mongol forces surge over the breached walls. Thousands of invaders pour into the city, including Christian troops from Armenia and Georgia, eager to align against their Islamic foes. The city's defenders are overwhelmed, and the slaughter begins in earnest. Desperate to escape, throngs of refugees flee to the Tigris River, crowding onto boats. The Dawater joins their retreat, but soon discovers that the Mongols have built makeshift bridges, cutting off any hope of escape. Stones and incendiary projectiles rain down upon the fleeing vessels, and 3 boats are captured, their occupants killed without mercy. Forced to turn back, the Dawater re-enters the city, where the caliph orders him to personally surrender to Hulagu. The exhausted remnants of the Abbasid army follow suit. Thousands of soldiers lay down their arms, accompanied by civilians pleading for mercy. But the Mongols show none. The prisoners are systematically divided and led out of the city, only to be executed en masse. The severed heads of the Dawater and 2 other officials are sent to the governor of Mosul as a grim warning. At last, Al-Mustasim, the caliph who once ruled over the jewel of the Islamic world, emerges to surrender. Hulagu, exhibiting an air of deceptive civility, greets him warmly and inquires about his health. Then, with calculated cruelty, he commands the caliph to order his people to disarm and gather for account. Trusting in the promise of mercy, the caliph complies. What follows is a scene of unspeakable horror. Tens of thousands of Baghdad's residents, from mothers cradling infants to elderly scholars, are separated from their families and slaughtered. A few skilled craftsmen are spared as slaves, but the vast majority perish. The plains surrounding Baghdad are soon blanketed with hills of severed heads and lifeless bodies, a grim testament to Mongol wrath. The pillage and massacre that follow are methodical and merciless. Hulagu, honoring his earlier promises, spares certain groups, including Christians and Shia Muslims. But for the rest of the population, there is no reprieve. His troops sweep through the city, house by house, street by street, killing all they encounter. Hulagu himself takes up residence in the caliph's palace, where he orders Al-Mustasim to prepare a feast in his honor. "You are the host, and we are your guests," he declares mockingly. The trembling caliph complies, opening his treasuries to reveal the accumulated wealth of 5 centuries, gold, gems, silks, and treasures beyond measure. The Mongols take it all, leaving nothing behind, not even sparing the graves of the dead. Thus ends the glory of Baghdad, the center of a once mighty empire, reduced to ashes and blood under the relentless fury of the Mongols. The fall of Baghdad in February 1258 marked the end of the Abbasid Caliphate's dominance and one of the darkest chapters in Islamic history. After the massacre, Hulagu Khan demonstrated calculated pragmatism in dealing with the remnants of Baghdad's population and its legacy. Following the slaughter, the Caliph Al-Mustasim met a grim fate. Historical accounts suggest that Hulagu, perhaps out of superstition about shedding royal blood, ordered the caliph's execution by more indirect means. Wrapped in a carpet or sack, Al-Mustasim was either trampled to death by horses or suffocated. Details vary across sources. This brutal act symbolized the utter annihilation of the Abbasid dynasty's rule over Baghdad. With the caliphate extinguished, the Mongols systematically dismantled Baghdad's infrastructure and cultural institutions. The libraries, which housed priceless manuscripts and the accumulated knowledge of centuries, were looted and destroyed. Many accounts describe the Tigris River running black with ink from the books cast into the water and red with the blood of the scholars and civilians who perished. Despite the devastation, Hulagu spared specific segments of the population, including artisans and engineers, whom he sent to other parts of the Mongol Empire to bolster their capabilities. Christian communities, particularly Nestorians, were also spared due to Hulagu's alliances with Christian powers and the influence of his wife, Dokas Khatan, a Nestorian Christian herself. However, the Islamic community of Baghdad, both Sunni and Shia, bore the brunt of the Mongol wrath. The Mongols established a new administrative structure in the region. Baghdad, once a thriving center of Islamic culture and learning, was reduced to a shell of its former self, becoming merely a provincial outpost under Mongol control. Hulagu installed governors to oversee the city and its surrounding areas, integrating the region into the Ilkhanate, a division of the Mongol Empire. The fall of Baghdad had far-reaching consequences. It signaled the end of the Islamic Golden Age, a period marked by advancements in science, medicine, philosophy, and culture. The destruction of Baghdad disrupted trade routes and weakened the Islamic world's unity. Sunni Islam, without a central authority, became fragmented, while the rise of new powers, such as the Mamluks in Egypt, reshaped the political and religious landscape of the region. In the years that followed, the Mongols faced significant challenges. Their advance into the Islamic heartlands was eventually checked by the Mamluks at the Battle of Ain Jalut in 1260, a pivotal encounter that marked the first major defeat of the Mongol forces. This defeat prevented the Mongols from further expansion into North Africa and safeguarded the survival of Islamic civilization in other parts of the Middle East. The fall of Baghdad remains a haunting reminder of the destructive power of unchecked conquest. It also underscores the resilience of human culture. Despite the Mongols' devastation, the Islamic world eventually recovered and adapted, contributing to global history in new and transformative ways. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. If you found this story interesting and meaningful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any exciting content coming up. Leave a comment to share your thoughts. We're eager to hear from you. See you in the upcoming videos with more unique and meaningful stories. Stay with us. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. If you found this story interesting and meaningful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any exciting content coming up. Leave a comment to share your thoughts. We're eager to hear from you. See you in the upcoming videos with more unique and meaningful stories. Stay with us.